to introduce our next speaker for today. He is Mr. Ashvin Vellody. He is partner, KPMG Management Consulting. People who have attended our past programs know him well. An excellent speaker, very inspirational, extremely knowledgeable, and someone who has a deep and passionate interest in working with CIOs to make things happen. So Ashwin has over 20 years of experience in business and technology transformation, new solution development, process improvement, systems integration, and he's led very large project teams. And in his current role, he leads the strategy and performance service line for KPMG India, and he works very closely with the CXO community in helping address their business and operational challenges. He's led a number of engagements to define, execute, and assess business strategies for many organizations across a number of industries. In the past, Ashwin has held senior roles in the telecom consulting in the US and in India, and he's advised Fortune 500 companies on the telecom value chain, as well as M-commerce and CRM. His current areas of interest are digital and social media strategy, customer experience management, enterprise mobility, and e-commerce. So please welcome on stage Mr. Ashvin Vellody, who's going to talk today about making business and technology work as one.
I have to thanks, Giri. I mean,
Now you have to live up to your
yeah, I think you did a great job by setting me up for such expectations. But so I have to. There's no mic that I can. Yeah, because so as that gets set up, very warm good afternoon to everyone. Just a quick. Okay. Yeah. So how many are like? And since I hope you can be honest, how many are like one step away from CIO? Yeah, we'll come to that because so 3, 4, or 5. Okay, all right. And how many are CIOs? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. So we'll look for you to add to some of the discussion along with others. The rest are already past it or not interested in it. Okay. And why we do this every year in this session, and two reasons. Okay, I'll start on a lighter note. Some of you may have heard this, but I was with a CIO this morning, one of our very esteemed clients. I was telling him about this session, and he said, do ask them what does the I stand in CIO. Okay, any guesses? It could be anything. Okay, so information, innovation, absolutely right. But keep in mind, it was a little bit on a lighter note, okay, but okay, that is very correct. So intelligent, okay. Sometimes an idiot, okay. Yeah. So I think what he was saying, or it said is, sometimes the CIO's career is over, okay. And there is some relevance to what we'll talk about based on we'll tie that up. Okay, so I would like this afternoon session is called the graveyard shift after tea. So occasionally you may have to stand and do exercises if you fall asleep. Okay, so we'll get started. Clicker is here. Okay, all right. So the thing is broken up into very simple areas. Okay, one is around what is the current state, or what does a CIO do currently, and more or less speaking, okay, what is IT today, but more importantly, and this is the important part of this session, where is it headed towards? Okay, where is it headed towards, and what does one need to have in your repertoire or in your armory to get to that role, if indeed you want to be in that role? Okay, so and then obviously and we will do it mostly on interaction. Please feel free to interrupt, it's okay, and ask your points, whatever it is, or add a comment, and we'll try to keep it interactive. Okay. So this is the four areas. Most important are these 2, 3, and 4. The first one, I think we will go fast. It is mostly to kind of level set that this is what we see as KPMG in most of the client places that we talk about, or who we work with. So few areas of this wheel to kind of just level set for you. What does the function of IT do? What does that function do? Okay, that function in some particular order you could start. with IT budgets and investments, infrastructure management, information security, asset and project management life cycle, operations management, and vendor technology and selection. Okay. Now I know there is some quiz, right, Giri? Like,
Yes, there is a quiz, yes.
Okay. So.
Designed by Ashvin, so.
Oh, no. A very able group of more people, more smarter than me from KPMG sitting in the back. They have designed it. So, yes. So.
No, I'm only saying that if there's anything wrong, they can beat.
They can beat me up. Okay. Yes. Beating up is with me. That's okay. All right. So, how many of you do one or more of these functions in your roles? Must be quite a few, right? So, can we get go? I mean, so yes, sir. That table.
Almost all the functions.
All the functions.
Yeah.
So, how does budgeting and all work in your organization, broadly speaking, without giving away company secrets?
Whatever you had last year, you are saying this year.
I was about. So you are in a good shape. If I hold, so it's the same. You are saying nothing reduces. Okay. Standardized. Take the spreadsheet, file, save as new version, change the year. Yeah. Okay. 10 per add. Add. Okay. Which? I have to meet you. 10. Okay. Add is good. Okay. Less sometimes. See, that is, anyone else? Any? Yes. Yes, if you don't consume, very good point. Okay, if this is called, it is like how the state and central government budgeting process happen. If you don't consume, next time you don't get that much fund allocation. And although it seems easy, it is difficult to spend money once you have it under your control. Okay, because there is the process of evaluation.
Therefore, every vendor wants to know when is your year ending.
Where is the year end? Because then you're at the rush for saying, look, I have to do something, maybe a POC and all that. We'll talk.
What is the budget you are taken for that particular project? So
He can plan and then make the pitch accordingly. Correct. Last minute hunger happens. See, this and he and I now have done it for a few years. This time I am amazed. This is common with your colleagues in Bangalore and Chennai and Mumbai and wherever. Okay, it's the same thing. And no matter what we are doing in these sessions to educate, the change, the ticking of the needle in your org is slow or could be faster. Okay, and that is a matter of concern. Okay, I'll tell, and the reasons come in those last 3 sessions of, actually there are many cases our clients are, there are chief digital officers being appointed away from the IT. Okay, roles are getting in business organizations away from IT, not always, but if it happens, there is a serious implication potentially of CIO, what I defined earlier. Okay, so so we got to figure out of why it is, and we have done sometimes very detailed classes for N-1 level to say, look, this is what you are supposed to be equipped with. Okay, and I'll not spend too much time on some of these things. We'll just level set quickly. Okay. First part, most of you know it, and I think you kind of captured it well. But basically, the function, the role of that function is to analyze information, benchmark and model how your budget, how your spend and analysis is, develop a proper financial planning governance, and monitor and assess. Okay, that assess function is important so that you can have a closed loop in terms of what you're doing in this. Okay, many companies do what you exactly said in the table, and that is not the best way of using IT. Quickly going to vendor technology. This, I think, the definitions are clear. You should have good criteria. There should be a way to evaluate vendor. Many times, again, keeping on, I'll bring in some experience here. People short circuit this. Okay, what there is that यार कुछ नहीं तो just एक product डाल दे. खराब होगा तो फिर से कुछ कर लेंगे. You know, that doesn't work here. You must do it with a plan. Otherwise, this last minute hunger, as sir says here, will happen where you are having money, not spending, or spend the wrong money and getting beaten up by finance. Okay? And you cannot merge vendor and technology selection that easily. It is a art and a science. If you overdo it, you will be evaluating for 6-8 months. Okay, and then implementation time is gone, and then your planning cycle is out. Okay, if you are doing it less, many times now I'm seeing questions being opened in terms of who chose this package, why did this happen, and then this other thing which maybe you can also add to is every vendor has competing overlapping products. So if you want a product that does pure time and expense management, do you go with best of suite or best of breed? Then can you put a big vendor there, or should you just buy a small thing? Okay, those are the kinds of stuff that this section talks about. Operations, this is very fairly simple. Most people have this, okay, so I will not spend too much time. Is the intersection of those three things: business, technology, and finance. Okay, there are, just so that you know, there are lots of very good things that are coming in this space. You know, one thing is the standard called, it's not, I don't think it's part of the test, guys, right? So it's called TBM Council, Technology Business Management Council. It's a UK based organization. You all should check it out on the internet. But all it does is, see, IT, what they believe is one of the few functions that has got the liberty to not run as a business, and that council is trying to change that. Okay, trying to say that run IT effectively, run it with proper ROI, have the cost, have proper CMDB, understand asset base. If I ask most of you, if you, when have you last done physical verification of your data center, I don't know how many will say yes. Okay, because we actually don't know how much asset, what is the net book value, does it really depreciate, whose books it is. We don't run it like, all we do is ask for budget, execute things, and put in data center. Okay, so that this council is trying to change that. There are products and solutions in that space. You can read at your leisure. This one is in India quite stable, but project management, we are seeing increasingly that people are asking for the discipline of project management. Okay, the science of project management, rather than just getting a more senior person. And that's the other thing you should avoid. The most senior developer, don't make him a project manager. Okay, it's a good chance for failure. So he or she will not like that, may leave, and the other people may resent it also, because project management is a discipline, just like software development. Then InfoSec is quite good, quite strong. There are a lot of people, because there is the proverbial stick in this, many people follow. They're quite detailed about it, and this is a robust function, you know, that most people do. Infra, I think, how many of you here have good infra background? Quite a few, right? Yeah, see there, this is little less, because mostly when we used to do this over the years, most people who have grown up in the IT organization are coming from data center background. So data center, going all the way from cabling, rack design, hardware, in terms of 1U, 2U, that type of design, into hardware, into storage, then applications. And that's a very important point, because the skills are this way. The IT person's language is always network or infra oriented. You know, it is very less oriented towards business outcomes. This is a very interesting insight we got, where, see, or maybe it's changing here. This is not that many I see. Most people don't have app background. They don't know the business reason for CRM. If you say CRM से कितने servers चाहिए, virtualize करना है, cloud में डाल, क्या करना है, OPEX. See, that's not what they are asking. Perhaps is, how can CRM be different from SFA? And the questions are about 1U rack, virtual. Will you use this visor? That's not relevant to the business. Okay. All right. So we'll come this. So I will not. We'll do it in the form of some experience. We'll not go through all these slides that way. One is, how many of you believe that you don't work in silos? Not in silos? How come? Which, if you can share your organization, or if you can, if you don't, you know.
So I have some managers and senior managers reporting to me, and then they have their teams. So I have regular one-on-ones with the teams to understand if they have any challenges.
So this is within IT, right?
Within IT, yes.
Within IT. Okay.
So yeah, if we talk about silo in terms of other departments,
Probably,
say that,
no?
yeah, yeah.
Can you work, do you work well with all departments, or sometimes no?
Yeah.
Anyone else? I mean, who thinks that, no, silos are there? Why is it, guys? Why? Yes?
So we are interacting with the plant guys with their CEOs. What are their requirements?
I don't know. So manufacturing.
Yeah, it's manufacturing. I'm from steel and power background.
Okay.
And couple of times I'm also interacting with the joint managing director because he's taking a lot of interest in the manufacturing and
Yes.
he's from IT background.
Oh, very
So
good.
he wants a lot of interconnect between IT and the business. So I would say since last more than 1.5 year, we are interacting too much and we are trying to make shop floor paperless. Again, the digital India, that's what we are trying to do.
But are you all able to understand and your shop floor business people are aligned to IT? It looks like there it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. But you can see maybe 2 or 3, maybe 5 examples, okay? This part is one of the biggest lacunas or challenges in the system. They're very interesting, okay? I have had cases where an HR person who is in HR, okay, when he or she moves to IT just to as role change, the way they talk becomes different. So it becomes about, what they call is like everything is the hand. It's like what I cannot do comes first, okay? If you ask business like, hey, please make this change in PeopleSoft or something and make success factors work like this, like, no, sir, it will take 6 months to do it. They say, no, I need this. No, sir, that will difficult. You have to talk to that department to collect the requirements. Then one more thing I hear very often from business when we do, there's a workshop we do, okay? They'll say, IT will say always, requirements keep changing. Yes?
Yes. That is called change request.
Change request. Yes. But tell me something, then most IT people are unhappy with it, right? But who doesn't change? Yeah? That has to happen.
Actually, are you not finding out that whether these change, what we are talking about, the silos which is used to exist some, I think, 5 years back or so, these are now diminishing.
Yes,
The
I'll
silos
tell you
are really coming towards the things, and until unless you integrate with the business,
Yes.
so ITs really not exist now. And more of the things people were talking about IT 5 years down the line or so as an IT infrastructure department only. And now I think so the things have changed because the cloud implementation, that most of the IT infrastructure has already moved out of the on-premises to the cloud. And a lot of security things have, like if you talk about the 4 big Bs, they are talking about, they have taken up the complete FMS part of the business. So now the IT department is more focusing onto the integration of the processes in the organization. So that is what I
You're
feel.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Here, integration also, you can add with vendors also. There are lots of vendors in the ecosystem now compared to say 5, 6 years ago. Okay, so what we call the multi-vendor environment. Many vendors, A, B, C. I won't take names of these vendors, but all the regular players are there. But see, the issue is, you're right, the issue is still the same. See, people, like when you go with vendors, when you have so many things and all these things are in multiple parts, still requirements will change, correct? But what I was trying to drive at is, IT is unhappy if requirements change. There's a logical reason, okay, very logical reason. I'll give you 2 things, okay? Because once you have told something, why are you changing? But the speed of business has changed so much that they actually don't know sometimes what is the change they need, okay? Second, on a lighter note, see, only people who don't change are dead guys. Yeah? Okay, you cannot have a person who is running a quarterly result and say, kuch bhi change mat karo, kuch bhi. And you will give him a 12-month ERP rollout, 6 months change management, 4 months of data transition, and go live in the following next financial year. Nobody knows that way. That's why Agile, Scrum, Cloud Ops, that is the root cause of this. Okay. Now what has happened though is, if you do it that way, we see it in very complex, okay, large organizations in the country where multi-vendors are there. Many of them are here, maybe in the room, maybe not. Large telecom operators, large banks. The complexity is even more because now you've got vendors who are managing cloud, some other managing data center, somebody else doing requirements, somebody auditing the testing. No? So it is even more because now you'll say, look, to make a change happen, I got to do a federated change management. Somebody said change request. Now it will become a federated change request, which is change request for vendor 1, vendor 2, vendor 3. Okay. So all this tries to say is like they have to be tackled differently, and that is that change which I wanted to talk about, where the mindset needs to change. Okay. There's one company which I happen to work with in the south. They are taking slightly a different route. They're saying change has to be embraced, break the work into small pieces and try to handle it slightly differently. I can talk to some of you on how they are trying to do that, and that's the second part. Okay, how to handle change. which is, and it is not just for the, and then the other question I often hear when I talk to CIOs is, why can't the business learn IT? हम लोग, they are always asking us to know the business. Why can't the business know IT? What's the harm? See, actually, it is a double-edged sword. If they start knowing IT, it's quite interesting. Okay, sometimes it's little knowledge is dangerous. You may have, many of you may have your CEO saying, I read this in a conference. When are we doing this? Like, sir, I don't have data. क्या यार कुछ आता नहीं है तुमको? You see, that person has done it in the paper. Yeah.
The CEO coming in saying, I know everyone is moving to cloud now. So why do we have data center? Why are we not on cloud completely? He said, move everything to cloud.
Correct. So it is.
Somebody told him about cloud.
Yeah.
And first of all, everybody wants IT, but nobody owns IT. That is the number one. I mean, suppose IT is an enabler, so we want to enable all of these things, users. But if there is any problem or anything going wrong, they will not own it. They will think everything on IT.
IT background IT.
That is number one. Next is IT is most wanted but least understood.
No, why do you say that? I've heard this before. Why?
Because this is the way they want to operate. They think that business processes are silos. Means contracts expert is contracts expert.
Contracts will have.
Yeah,
yes.
we have enabled them through ERP, all other applications, but they will use it in their own term and everybody has their own song to sing actually.
Correct.
That is the main
No,
problem.
see, that's what you're saying. Why I'm laughing is, see, it is literally this whole group will emanate IT thing only. You see, even talking in a talk, the reaction is like, look, they don't know me. Okay, I am misunderstood. I agree with you, sir. I have nothing. You've got a lot of years of experience. It is just that what is happening, unfortunately, is that see this whole mainframe to client server to current compute to where it is going. If we don't adapt and at least change the mindset, it will be a difficult transition. There are many organizations that are asking that very question. If they are that misunderstood, why do we need them? Okay. अगर इतने ही ठीक है ना, we'll misunderstand with the vendor then. So and that's where now what happens is, and many of you may be thinking that way, is many times the knowledge, most of your knowledge is about actually relationship management, vendor management, and meeting management. Okay, most people are managing meetings. Yes, communication, expectation setting. In this, I don't know, most of you are in single vendor, multi-vendor. Like you have many providers, no? Data, storage, compute, this. So you must be all collecting one meeting, morning huddle, kya ho raha hai, ops call. See, finally, if that guy says, look, really, do you know all this? Like, sir, I don't know. He knows. Yeah. That's what is an interesting thing to think about. This is, again, a lot of this is, this one I think is proactive, it's okay. It's mostly like fairly standard that you have to think before, but 1 minute on this salami approach, okay. This is what you all already said in the first part. Well, some of you know this. See, suppose cut happens, no? Cut will happen all across. Bina soche samjhe, like 10% reduction, 10% reduction. So innovation, non-innovation, anything, critical project, testing, everything will get cut. That's not how you cut, okay. What I keep telling CIOs, you should cut with your brain in the on position. Okay, you cannot cut all these things. Maybe cut 15% somewhere and 0 somewhere. But cut, generally, to be fair, the CIO says, "Pura hi kaat dete, sabko ko ekdam equally." That's not how you do it. That's like cutting with a machine, not with human intelligence. Okay. So that's what these lacunas talk about. Then here, this is another good thing. Okay, confusing operations with strategy. How many of you have a good IT strategy? Good, that is the more honest answer. Okay, many times you say, I have strategy. What I do, I run all these meetings properly, every day cost is there. That's not the strategy. Strategy mostly is about what not to do. Okay, I've got all these products. That's not, it's like, which don't you have? Okay, so that is very important, because in India, when we compare, we do these surveys. I don't know, Sayantan, you should share that with the group sometime. Is that when we do it, compare India CIO priorities, with global CIO priorities, this is one interesting area that is at jar, okay? Like especially Europeans, they need to plan properly. Many of you may be part of European conglomerates or not, or they plan. Then they choose what not to do. There are some priority areas. For us, what happens is grab. Okay, जितना कर सकते ले लेंगे, बाद में देखते हैं क्या होता है, ना? नहीं होगा तो we'll 6 months में we'll take something out. That is confusing strategy with lots of other things, but that's not strategy. Many times people say strategy is just defining something, putting in a roadmap. That's not strategy. So that is something that you all should think about, because see, what we have drawn here is, I don't know if the light will come on. Okay. So vision you define strategy with taking input from your business and IT vision. Okay. Then you come up with tactics. Tactics are steps or methods to execute on that will realize or implement that strategy. 10% cost give back in infrastructure every quarter. The tactic could be cloud. Cloud cannot be the strategy, so it means nothing in isolation. Okay. This we do fair amount of work with. Actually, focus area for us is in this area. Communication, I think I talked about. Okay, I think we have done a session for CIO Next only on this. I think it is very, I think it is hilarious as far as I see it. When IT people change roles, I have seen that, you may have seen it, your own colleagues who are your friends, if they change department and move to marketing, or their language becomes different, they also start complaining, yaar tum log ye nahi karte ho. And you will also start saying, Arey, what he says I'm not understanding. Every time. That's because we talked at the reasons, we know it. I am still trying to debate why it happens in spite of knowing it so well, okay? All right, so let's now focus a little bit more on the what is happening, okay? What is happening? Most of you know all of these things, but the power is in looking at it in these kind of settings in the context of convergence, okay? In the context of how these things will impact you, and we'll talk a little bit more about these things, okay? So first big one, most of you have a big data project, right? No? How many? है ना कुछ एक उधर, okay sir, yeah, can you please tell little bit?
We are a product company, so we are doing a lot of data analytics using a data warehousing for our customers we can sell more, who has the potential to absorb new product, all those kind of data analytics.
Why is that big data?
So it is getting data from everywhere, from sales, from marketing, from finance, what kind of contracts it were, and how much revenue was there from this particular client, what was the profitability, all that. So it's coming from everywhere, and then the analytics is done and then presented to the relevant audience. For sales, the graphs are different. For marketing, the graphs are different. For finance, the graphs are different.
All data is put in, right? Yeah. Anyone else? Any other big data? But you all are doing it or no? Not doing it. Yes, you're right. Yes. What where else?
We are making a farmer data.
Okay.
We are advocating Dhanuka.
Dhanuka. Okay.
Right. So we are making a farmer data.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I don't think big data is what I have done my project, actually MBA project in big data.
Yes. Please go ahead.
It's about analyzing like the three-way volume as well as basically unstructured data.
Three facts, yeah.
Unstructured data in terms of velocity and kind of video and those, like if you analyze the retail sites and all, how many hits have happened. So there are like video analytics and all those kind of to gain some insights into it, not
Correct.
just the data part. That's just the analytics part actually.
Okay, fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough.
There actually like in the simple finance and simple logistics, there are some POCs being done currently in terms
I
of.
was waiting for that word. Okay, how many are doing big data POCs? Very few, yeah. Okay, maybe you're not. You're doing POCs. Okay. See, few things. Okay, just to clarify or just to at least see big data. The reason why it is termed this way is that you all are saying only the IT symptoms. The reason is it's for a business need. the business today, any business, okay, pharma, this, what you said for Dhanuka or anyone else, payment card industry is there. So all of these industries, absolutely right. See, if you can easily collect data, okay, you can collect name of person and all, that is generally not big data. All big means is that the dimension of analysis, the volume, the velocity, the veracity, which is the accuracy of data, is at massive scale. Okay. What is the big concept about structured data? Structured data allows you to do things like select star from table where last name is equal to Singh. Okay, that will give you all the things in your database. Okay, but that's not big data analysis. Big data will be saying, tell me people who have the reason to visit house cars here, who occasionally smoke but might watch movies in the evening. That you cannot query that easily from a cube.
What is it saying, like season changes and crop changes?
See, that's what I'm trying to teach with that whole thing is the language of big data should be business. You see that example there, okay? Where we have put somewhere inside this text. See, it is all about, say, for an auto industry, how can GPS data, car driving behavior data, accident record, insurance claims, all be integrated for some meaningful business reason to give claims discount. That's where big data comes in, and to keep the tools separate, guys. The tool is separate, and tool vendors like SAP, Oracle, and others can have instantiation of tools to solve big data problems, which is the convergence of structured and unstructured. And there are many techniques, there's a lot of science in it. Structured data works on the concept of tuples. Some of you may know this, TUPLES. Okay, it's an mathematical science. Okay, but unstructured does not work that way. Oracle and Sybase and all are what is called row and page locking data tables. No, it is a file-based format of storing data. Unstructured data doesn't get stored that way. So there's a lot of mathematical science and research of how this has come about. My sense is most people are currently on the POC phase, trying it one or two places, doing it somewhere, but this is a huge trend. It is career defining. If you all can take it up, do it, make impact to your businesses. It is just, but perhaps the incorrect way of doing it is upgrading the software, having big data licenses, and then figuring out what to do with it. Okay.
The basic problem which is there in the market as of now is that even if you talk to the big vendors like SAP, Oracle, or others, they still are talking about the transactional data to be done as a big data. They are still not talking about anything related to your websites to be taken into it, your social media to be taken into it, your telephonic calls, your CRM data, which is scattered into different things. That is still not getting into the main.
You're so correct. Okay, I just want to reiterate. I think it's absolutely valid. That examples we have seen. The only add I would put to that is the onus of that is on this group of users. You cannot see that onus is for somebody to solve a business problem. Now, what you said, call, all this, that your company needs to have. You need to demonstrate that business vocabulary, solve it in certain way, and then the instantiation, the execution can be in this set of software. Yeah. So, but so that's one trend is big data. So we'll keep moving along in the. And there is fair amount of confusion on what is big data versus data science, data analytics, what will happen to the old warehouse, what is ODS. Many people have ODS, no, operational data stores. Maybe you all have it. So this is slightly a different dimension to say this is where the trend is. Now it doesn't mean all what you're doing in the past is wrong or anything, okay? The next one is this, which is, I think here we are doing fairly okay, I believe, okay? There are quite a few companies. Again, this has big data implication based on what Sir just said. All of the data coming on a simple model, okay? Internet of Things at the heart of it is machines talking to machines. Okay, through some standard protocol, maybe it is TCP, maybe it is TCP IP or HTTP or whatever, or GPRS, whatever the protocol is. Basically, you've got machines talking to machines, and then you've got fair amount of intelligence coming. Okay, any examples of anyone having done that you want to share? Otherwise, I'll give some. Yeah, please.
I heard in the forum somewhere, like in the automobile industry.
Yes.
So like if I'm driving a car, my brake pads, if those are getting degraded. So there should be intelligence within the car
Yes.
that the manufacturer getting the information and proactively that product is delivered or shipped to my service agency.
Yes.
And whenever I go there, that part is available and immediately can be replaced.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here the internet of, so there are two things. There is some big data aspect happening there of analysis, but the part what you can emphasize here is the machine, the brake pad, talking to the car, then talking to some server somewhere. Okay, that's the IoT part. Okay. Anyone else?
There are a lot of machines, plant machines.
Plant, see, all of the plant, maybe somebody was saying steel plant, see, SCADA, MES, those are the basis of robust industrial strength shop floor automation, okay?
Even the bending wheels, people guys, they started the things now. That
Correct.
What are total number of parts produced from that particular wheel?
Yes.
So they keep the wheel ready now that this organization has purchased this particular wheel now, so that wheel is ready to be delivered.
Delivered, correct.
That way they are, even they are giving you alerts that, okay, your wheel has already done this many parts. So it is therefore.
Absolutely, absolutely right, yeah. See, that is similar to what sir said about the brake pads part, yeah, very, very similar. Yes, go ahead.
This is I saw this particular case study in one of the seminars. Like they have, there was a guy who was cycling, so he had a watch on his hand, which was actually, counting the heartbeat rate, and all of a sudden he met with an accident, and the velocity comes down to 0, and he was collapsing. So the heartbeat rate increased. So this thing triggered, and it sent message to the ambulance agency. They figured out like how to reach to that person in a shortest way so that they avoid the traffic, and then they picked the guy and gave him the necessary first aid and saved his life.
Yep. I think great example. See, law, and you said case study. Hopefully, it has happened somewhere in the world. Many such cases, and it is not as difficult as one would think. Okay, this is not as filmy. Okay, this is very real. It is very easy to do also.
And then you have those drones.
Drones is there, yes.
Work at where an accident occurs and then.
Yes, the help gets dispatched through drones. Yes, and you can extend this paradigm. There are 2-3 things. Okay, one part of Internet of Things is today we are finally figuring out. See, earlier if I do this graph for clients, see, first it was many millions of years of human to human communication, human to machine, machine to human, now machine to machine. Okay, so that's pretty much just the framework. That's the frame by which how this is evolving. Okay, so what is happening in this space is 2 things. One is it is completely tied together with the first trend. If so many machines talk to so many things, you imagine the explosion of IP addresses, right? You will need a lot of data, and it will generate a lot of data. Now, these data mostly is not big in the sense not big data, not many megabytes. Okay, these are bytes of data. Like some of you may be in a telecom place, call data record. Okay, CDR. A CDR is a few bytes only. Okay, or like that, these data pieces are very small, but there are many. Now, and then there are many and they move. Because if you have got this car, this cyclist, all of these things move, okay? So when they move, you got location data also embedded in Internet of Things as a data parameter, okay? What will start happening in this space, you will start seeing products and solutions that allow you to do few things. One is new business models will emerge that your companies will try to offer in their business, like in crops, in irrigation, or in power, in wherever, okay, where the insight that you have for your end customer is now used to make more money. Yes, please. Yeah, Google now, yes. Yeah. Yes.
And my each and every activity is getting recorded.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting in IHC today, I'm here.
Yeah. Yes. You are absolutely right. See, it's just that Google now is less of Internet of Things than more than pervasive data. Okay, they have got complete track of what you are doing, which is absolutely right. But you have signed up for it. Okay, so just Giri is telling me to speed up, so we'll.
You can't opt out of Google.
You cannot. Opting out of Google is almost impossible. All this says is connected device apps, And then the application that we talked about, all of you gave examples. Two connected apps becomes compound applications, okay? Let me go ahead. Oops. So this part I think is a more of a trend that has begun to happen. It's quite okay. From CapEx, so if you look at the axis below, if you look at the two axes here, one is around how your agility ability happens, which is on this axis. Then you've got CapEx to OpEx, further more into OpEx alone, and then finally being a value provider. Okay, what this means is just the financial model of how you are getting charged back and charged is changing as you go from, let's say, a CapEx heavy model to just a pure OpEx model. So if you just build this out a little bit, okay, first it was around consolidation, optimize machines, do things that you cannot do it more, utilize more CPU effectively, so on and so forth, which we have, I think we have done that well. Virtualization is also quite okay. Now, virtualization to automation. Automation, there are things like, again, there are trends around RPA, robotic process automation, where all of the lower end tasks about defect management, ticket management, all can be automated, okay? You don't need human intervention. So that's somewhere there where you've got what is called policy-based adaptive infrastructures that based on rules and segments of what a policy is, the infrastructure will self-heal and learn. And then finally, you got, in the sense, cloud, it just is a mechanism. It's a channel for how you provide services and so on and so forth. You know? And here, I think this part, we know, most cloud today, most is except Gmail and other things that you all may be using is private cloud. So people are slowly coming into public cloud. See, public cloud gives you the, or hybrid, gives you the benefit of what is called multi-tenancy. You know? Many people are on the same infrastructure, thereby reducing the cost. Yeah? Which generally we are very hesitant currently. We don't move anything, what I see in enterprise apps into that space. So this I think you brought up around social networking. There are, in fact, there's one company that has moved away from email into completely social-based communication in India. Quite big organization, moving away from email into this for the right collaboration effect. And this is quite profound, okay? This is not about Facebook and all that stuff.
One company has moved the product unmailed.
Unmailed, yes. Unmailed, see? That's what I'm saying. These things are, this is, see, all of the icons that you see, YouTube and all, those are outside the firewall type applications, okay? That is a big trend. But within the enterprise also there is a huge trend where lots of applications, Tibber, Yammer, Link, all, and I'm not to cite one vendor specifically, you've got a lot of integration about Skype to big data, so on and so forth, where you can get a lot of value out of this. Okay? And there are very good projects, so this is not about just some fancy things, okay? There's some actual productivity gaining products, solutions that you can put in this space. Okay. This one, how many of you, most of you have this, right? Mobility, enterprise mobility. Yeah? But just be careful that this is not about having email on BlackBerry or Android, okay? That's not what this trend is. This just talks about the fact that you must have what is called the edge of the enterprise. Of all things that you do in the company, you should be able to do it in the mobile. Okay, that part is a little difficult, but people are doing it. People are doing it. There's some progress in this. This is not about email and just approving timesheets online and all that. Okay. Now the last section we'll just talk about. Okay. I think this we spent some time on it, but if you just see this 2 by 2, it's an interesting way we have divided it. Okay. If you keep orientation, meaning your outlook towards how you partner as a CIO, okay, and then you keep innovation on x-axis, okay. So there are few roles that comes in this 2 by 2. First is this the role of a service provider, okay. Most companies, most IT department, not company, most IT department is actually working as a service provider, meaning there is a set of services you do, You provide those services, you do it well, you don't do it well, that depends. Then IT is, if you can see, if you are leading edge in innovation, and you are like in the initial, see, which is what is called inward IT, inward looking IT organization, then you are more entrepreneurial, okay? You take some risk, there are desktop IT, there is some, lots of people who in separate departments doing some small innovation exercise and all, that is that part, okay? The business partner word is where you're saying outward towards business, okay? So more facing and aligned with business, but still a little lower on the innovation scale, on the first 50%, that's business partner. And then most people are here, they transition generally to an in-between state. This is the ideal one. It's a journey. It doesn't mean that you will be there in every single aspect there, but that's the path. That's the way to go forward, okay? Why? Because as we are saying here, business game changer. What it means is the IT organization now, finally in that state, and some of you may have it, is having a seat in the table. See, the perception of IT has changed at the board level. That actually, as some of you already said earlier on, it is not happened yet. It is quite like, boss, whatever they are doing, let them do. We don't understand. It's a necessary evil. Let's tolerate it. Okay. So what it is changing, it says when you are at this role of early 90s, most operations, little bit strategy. See this one. Today, little better, okay? That's where the transition is happening, which is not all operations, some strategy, some operations type of a chart, okay? This one I think I talked about. The CIO today, what you all should prepare for, and we had some discussion amongst us on how it should look like, okay? 4, 5 key areas: risk management, business IT alignment, investment, effect. So basically this is just a framework for you to see. And here what we use this is, how can you move your effort from left to right, okay? As the new, as quote unquote the new CIO, so that triangle, all those things, you could look at it in terms of effort spent and value gained, okay? So the most value is gained out of this innovation exercise. That doesn't mean, okay, so just so that when we say this, suppose your data center doesn't work properly, and you keep innovating, it's no use, okay? Your basics must be correct. Only then you have the respect to innovate. You cannot do all these new funda things when your basic change request doesn't work. Okay? That's a very important point to understand. Okay? It is not that everybody needs to go to the glamorous innovate and nothing happens in leverage and others. It's not like that. Okay? It's like you got to first do your homework properly. IT should work properly. Then you can start moving in that direction. This I think we talked about, business IT alignment is just a model again for you to kind of consider, okay? How do you source for the right partners? How do you simplify your ecosystem? And how do you still maintain end-to-end governance and accountability? The rest of the things are to investment analytical framework, okay. Here, this I'll skip, okay. This one will spend a little bit of amount of time. See, performance, how many of you have good performances? I mean, in terms of managing IT performance, not self-performance. Good stuff? You all do it? Doubt it, okay? What it is probably mostly just reporting of ops report, daily defect breakdowns, depreciation value, so on and so forth. But what we are trying to say here is monitor IT in these 4 buckets. What type of innovations you're doing, what impact are you making to customer, what is the impact you're doing on finance, and what are the process that you follow. So that 4 quadrants, all those 4 quadrants you must measure, monitor, and manage. Okay. Okay. So leave that. Risk, I won't worry too much. I think we are quite okay. This is you cannot go for all these things without having proper risk management controls, monitoring, effective action in terms of how risk management operates, okay? And obviously around all these areas. So I think we are coming to the end of it. This part, I'll just leave you to read certain parts, okay? So we talked about it. I think this you all had seen the slide earlier, so innovation, integration. So we talked about that, okay? There is one part which you bring digital in, you're getting this concept of CDO also somewhere, okay? And many times this is not in the IT organization. So that's something where we'll have to think about. But currently, as far as your question exercises go, this is the new CIO, okay, where you have to focus, what it says is you have to focus on 4 key areas: infra, intelligence, which is BI and all that. Integration means putting systems together, putting applications together, getting knowledge. And innovation, meaning some part of your time should be always to get new and improved things for your business. Yeah. This part we talked about, okay. This is slightly some tips and techniques of what you must do as you lead, as you get into that role to lead. See, some of you said you are one level below, few 1 or 2 persons are already in that role. Is when you explain IT, you must sell what we say here, okay? Sell the foundation. What it means is what you do and add value, people should be able to understand that. Then grow into a business plus IT executive, okay, not just IT. And then lastly, what is obviously under the paradigm called reach beyond IT, you got to, and many times what organizations do as part of their career growth plans and all that, there will be rotation at this level. There will be job rotation, opportunity rotation, so on and so forth, okay. Yeah, this is going a little bit in that last organization, ideal IT, in terms of how you take different steps, how you partner with folks. So I'm just in the interest of time moving this around. Okay. So I'll just wrap up, not on this slide, saying few key messages, okay. On the new CIO, you got to be aware of how these trends, not just be reading about it, but what these trends you can take on to adapt to your business. Take 1 or 2 things. Do some project. Don't always do POC. Get the language that you speak to your business people slightly different. You'll see that this is where that game-changing part will happen in your own career, okay? And that's the transition. Some people who are very effective CIOs have mastered that art. One is relationship building, speaking outside the organization, becoming a role model for what IT could be, okay, apart from certain things that we talked about at basics, okay. All right, that should end my session. Any questions? Any time for questions, or we are done? We just have to hurry up on the last few slides, but hopefully we can. You need it for answering the questions, or? Yeah.
So Ashwini, for the kind of emerging trends into the industry now, there are a lot of application startups coming up, or a product startups are coming up. So the IT which we realize where strategy and operations, where strategy is still 40%, 50%, but operations is 60 to 50%. But with this startup like application development company or product development companies, there the IT has a major role, because when they build the runways, then their Boeing will fly, right? So they build the core infrastructure, and then the application starts developing in and perform on it. So what do you think in that aspect? Will that be a very different aspect to it?
Yeah. See, for product companies, they make a distinction, okay? So we use that, and even I use that for e-commerce companies also. See, the IT still remains, in my view, basic. Basic meaning the basic building blocks. When you make products, like you're a big company like Microsoft, Oracle, SVC, the technology is same like IT, but that is called, in most of these companies, it's under PLM, Product Lifecycle Management, and it's called engineering. Okay, because just like for a steel company, engineering is the engineering of making steel. For a software company, making a product is product engineering. That is not generally the scope of the CIO. That is generally for most companies, that is called the Chief Product Officer. Okay, CTO. Those kinds of people are in that role. Okay, for example, some of these big companies who are on e-commerce companies, there are clients. See, they work on 2 different models. See, their website and all, now that's not an IT website. So let's say Snapdeal. or Flipkart or Amazon, their website is not maintained by CIO, that is maintained by engineering. Just like in telecom, the network is maintained by engineering. The IT is the ERP, Hyperion, whatever, Hyperion has become product, sorry, MIS, whatever it is, okay, all that is general IT. So that trend remains the same, but your point is valid that for newer startups and all these companies, IT is important, but let's not mix it, okay? The technology base is different, slightly from, am I making sense? It's not the same thing. Did I clarify, or I don't know what your, what? Yes, yeah.
You're still saying enterprise part of it.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
when you are dealing with your own internal end users.
Yes.
It is IT. But when it goes to client, or product client edge, then it's not IT?
Then it's not IT. See, there are two parts only. If it is product, it's a product company. If it is IT services, it's the Infosys, Wipro, TCS of the world. They also offer IT, yes, okay? But what you all are talking about, that part of IT, what you call, I think I'll use that, enterprise IT, is almost the same principles anyway. So there will be an IT department that is doing desktop provisioning even in an e-commerce company. That's not the most innovative in that e-commerce company, okay? You cannot compare that to Snapdeal.com or Microsoft.com or something.
Second is the manufacturing sector. The basic problem which we people are talking about, where the CIO role, when we are saying the CIO role is in question mark. The basic problem in the manufacturing organizations till date is that the CIO is still reporting in 70% cases to CFO.
Yeah.
And then the CIO is not doing a job of actually a business innovator sort of thing.
He's head
just-
IT.
Yeah.
He's head of
He's
IT.
the head of IT. He's getting instruction from an ex guy to do this job. He really cannot come out of the things if he tries to come out of the shell and try to say business innovation. He is being taken as he is trying to be over smart. Yeah. So that is where I think so. The guys who are the auditors or advisors to the manufacturing organizations really have to play a role that okay, IT is not necessarily an IT these days. It has to be really done the other way also.
Yes, no, I couldn't agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree. Yes, I'll respond. Yes. I agree with you. I think I'll tell you my thoughts on that.
See, my question is related to one of the points which you have mentioned in your previous slides, where you said the IT should understand the business. Like we always been cribbing that business doesn't understand IT. They treat us as a cost center. But in my organization, this is basically a live case where IT wants to help the business. Let's take an example of forecasting itself. We are enabled enough to do a trend setting and give them the forecasting for the future productions and the sales also. But somehow they are not at all agreeing to get those inputs from us, and they make some manual forecasting. How to convince them? This is a well-established tool or well-established practice which they should follow. And probably there is a 10% of errata plus minus which they can do at their end. And
how common do you think that is? Do you think other people have that, or
I'm not sure about other people, but I'm facing it. That's the reason I've shared it.
No,
and how do you handle such situations? If I say you are a consultant to us, see, we have a consultant like KPMG is one of the consultants. So we have ENY as a consultant.
Yeah.
So how, as a consultant, how would you enable a business to understand the role of IT for their betterment only?
So two parts. Okay. I'll answer his and then I'll come to on a lighter note. You replace EY. Get me. Okay. But on a more serious note, I think what you should do is very simply put. Okay. They are pushing back on this tool, whatever you want to call MIS, you got forecasting capability. It will continue to happen for the exact reasons that, in my belief, that I have shared, which is the ability for IT to not understand. I keep bringing this up. I know you have said that, look, it is always, why are you saying that? It is because, see, they may, I don't have that real situation. I need to talk to your business. You may be saying 1, 2, 3, but they may want kakhaga, okay? They may want certain other things where, see, for example, simple things like you want to do forecasting, but he may be afraid that his laptop itself is old, okay? It's like, yaar, ye sab bol raha hai, itna gadha sa laptop hai, kaise main kaam karunga is pe? I don't know, okay? What I'm trying to say is what is called the question of real need versus implied need is always different from business. It is not that, see, many times CIO or IT organization come and say, look, I have this nice tool, I want them to use, why are they not using? First thing is, who told you that they want this tool? No, I think it can do all this. That's what I call a solution looking for a problem. No, it's a solution looking for a problem. यहाँ पे लगा देते हैं यार इसको, इससे कुछ forecast निकलेगा, मुझे नहीं चाहिए यार. Okay, but that is the root cause. You'll have to dig deeper. What I'm trying to, what is an actual statement coming out from business, I don't want it. There may be 2 or 3 reasons removed from it. 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degrees removed, okay? And then to your point, see, because I thought you were building on his point, hence I took both questions together, but I agree. We have a role to play. We are doing that, okay? These kind of forums, in fact, in many boards, when we are invited to speak, when we do this audit presentation or advisory presentation or thing, this comes up. We do say that, okay? And what I'm telling you out of all this, making it humorous, is just for it to register, because the feedback is they listen and understand, okay? There are 2 things happening. Okay? They are saying, yes, I agree. One, they say, and please don't take it as a personal this thing, is that the level of talent and skill that I have in my IT team does not commensurate with what you're saying. Okay? And that could be for a variety of reasons. Now, obviously, just for dramatizing your argument, you may say, look, I'm very good. But as you know, in this business, it's always your boss decides that, no? So you cannot decide you're very good. Otherwise, you have to start your own company. Okay? So, see, that what we are doing, the feedback from businesses, they understand, but they would like certain experience-based CIOs handle that well. What I mean by that, you will have to be in that culture to make change in that culture. It's not that is that you cannot advise from top and leave it, okay? In your organization, you can make that change. I get exactly, many people say, if I report to the CFO, if I'm always tied by budget, how do I make change? Okay, it's not easy. We will help in that cases by talking to the CFO. We have done it in many places, but the answer is in the middle. Like somehow when we tell that, they say, वो सब ठीक है, but ये आदमी ठीक नहीं है. I say, sir, it's not about that. आप सुनिए तो सर, नहीं. हाँ, mentality ये हो जाता ना, and it's just a general statement. Then, but it is not always true though, okay? Many organizations, that's why I said have a seat at the table, is when you start, see why the root cause of that, at least from what I see from customers who I speak to, is suppose you're the CFO. Every time I am only coming to you with problems. Sir, so much attrition. Please give new job descriptions to hire more people. No, sir, all this is old, it has changed. Please give me more money to change. Or I changed all this, it is now working, but there is no other feature improvement. That is many times I've seen that. You upgrade, but it does the same thing like the old version. Okay? So if you are the CFO, if you are consuming these things and you don't understand, all you understand is balance sheet, P&L, this is very difficult. And then you give, and that is the other thing I leave you with. Please don't give extremely technical presentation to your business people, like cloud, virtualization, uske andar mein ye sab CPU, ye sab, nobody likes all that stuff. They don't understand. Then they will not say in the meeting, I don't understand. They will say, cut the budget. Okay?
We have to show business value in all presentations.
We say like that, but I don't see presentations like that now.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Ashvin. I do a lot of these round tables with CFOs. So the first question I ask, and I'm called to these round tables because supposedly I can explain technology to them. So the first question I asked about the CFOs, so I was doing something on the cloud and this thing. They said, we understand cloud, we get it. But it's not our job to understand the internals of this cloud. We have a CIO, it is his job to understand. I don't want to understand. You tell me what is the business benefit out of this, that's all. And he says, another thing which they said was, we are not against spending money. We understand that you can cut costs only to this limit. So if you come to me saying I can cut more costs, he says it's of no interest to me because he says you can't do it. If it could be done, I would have done it. That's my job. But I don't want the CIO to think about how to cut costs. I want him to think about how he can increase my revenue. That is of bigger interest to me than cutting costs. He says optimization we have done. Correct. And this is my experience recently talking to about 50, 60 CFOs, and that's really the sort of feedback they said. They said we get technology, but we don't want to like Ashwin currently pointed out, that they are not interested in the internal details of technology. Because it's completely beyond us. It is like if we were to come and explain some financial issues to you,
Yes.
you will have no interest because it's not your field. Same way, this is not our field. You are an expert. We believe what you say, but you tell us, where we should spend the money smartly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You tell us where to spend money smartly. If I don't understand, I will say no. In fact, one of the CFOs in one of these forums, he was here, he was addressing about 2 years ago. This is what he said. He says, I don't understand technology. So he says, if I don't understand, I will say no.
That's what I
That's
would
my
say.
standard answer because I don't want to go to jail because you did something. So I will say no. So make it understandable to me.
Yeah, and we did one session in Bangalore, I thought, no, right? This CFO was judging
Correct.
our presentation.
Shankar.
Yes,
Yeah.
Anil Shankar, okay,
Yeah.
of SE Law.
SE Law.
Yeah. So he said the same thing. He said, look, I trust you, but looks like you only don't trust us. You're telling this one time, that one time. It's like, what do you want? If you oscillate, I will cut it. Take it out.
So CFO says don't treat us as enemies. Our job is to mind the company. That is what we are paid for.
No, the companies where the IT reports to CFO, their job is the easiest job to get it done.
Yes.
Because it is his KRA also to
That's correct.
So the budget pass very easily. Issue is not the budget.
It's the
Issue
whole
is
part
that-
about
yeah.
growth. How do you help?
When we are talking about giving very digital solutions, when we talk about that, becomes an issue actually.
And many people partner with business quite effectively. Some people don't. Like, if you partner with your business colleague, and it's not that easy, you know it also, there must be some actual obstacles. The answer is easier, but the main thing is the language is different. Even here, yes, he says, okay, we have the opportunity to interact with other stakeholders, okay? And that is what we are trying to always bridge. We get CFOs to judge IT things, but the answer is still the same. They'll say, "Arey, theek hai, returns batao."
No, sir.
So, but they also say ROI can be negative. That's okay.
Yes. For many companies, IT.
Lot of IT projects are not ROI projects.
Yes. Sir, one point here. For many companies, IT is not a revenue generating vehicle.
Right.
For non-IT companies, IT is the reduction of the operational cost also, and the convenience operation and smart working. For that, the bottom line, which is the net profit, can increase even if by revenue generation is not.
But that is what CFOs are saying.
Yeah.
We are not interested in that.
That
We
is
are no
the.
longer interested in cost cutting. They said today, if there is overall growth in the economy 5%, 7%, we have to show that growth. Otherwise, the shareholders will eat our head. So they are interested in revenue growth. It says cost optimization you can do only up to a point. After that, it is actually negative because if you keep taking out costs, you can fire everybody in the IT department. But it will not help, right? Ultimately, where growth will come. So they understand. Maybe some CFOs they still not understand that's possible, but vast majority of the CFOs understand this part now.
From my perception, CFO wants every penny you are spending. He wants the value what you are giving to the business. That's if the spending money is giving return to the business, then it is, I think, is no issue.
You're right. That's right. But just to kind of highlight, see, don't think of them as like financial vultures or anything. ऐसा नहीं है. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, I don't speak for all CFOs, but whoever.
We rope our CFO to every.
So he or she, whoever is playing that role, they have to, as they have got a fiduciary responsibility towards their stakeholders, shareholders, board, all of that thing. Okay. Here, what happens? I think I will bring it back. See, the IT department is sometimes its own worst enemy. Is what I'm trying to highlight. Okay, and I don't mean to say that all the fault is with IT. That's not the case. Nobody is saying that. Okay, it's just that balance requires sometimes, and this is a big challenge. What happens because we are not able to articulate most, and in FedEx, for example, FedEx Global, the CIO is a board member. It was not the case. I happened to be in that country. Then they have changed. Okay, earlier that used to report to the CFO. There are some other organizations in India where CIO, in one large telecom operator out of headquarters out of Delhi, the CIO doesn't report to the CFO.
Yeah. So my question comes is why CFO? Like, is this trend, this trend has come in? Like, there are various other departments in the company, wherein we have HR, we have marketing department, we have other departments. why IT reports into CFO?
I'll tell you. I think it is still some of its own doing because IT is cost. Sometimes spender then a cost है ना, तो उसमें what they say is who will control that cost head? IT as a line item in the budget, the CFO will control. Okay.
I think
Yeah, please.
it's not only that cost which is there. Traditionally, what has really happened that IT enablement started with computerization of finance only. And what IT has done, they have made the project manager the CFO. Right? And so EDP has really moved from EDP to IT enablement sort of
Yes,
thing.
so right.
So it became the CFO became the project manager, and after doing one project, he started thinking that now he's the CIO. So this is how the whole thing has really changed.
Yeah, that is.
Computerization first started with payroll.
Payroll was the first one. Payroll was the first one. You know?
Otherwise the people.
Yes.
Now we have BT, the business technology.
Yes.
There is new vertical. So BT, they are part of business unit.
Business relationship manager, all that kind of stuff.